Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is the sequel to the very successful, generally beloved Guardians of the Galaxy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think this is like, what, the 15th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Holy shit! Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, finds his father, played by Kurt Russell. He saw that in the trailer. I thought it was weird to show it in the trailer. You do find that out pretty fast. You're like, oh, okay, they didn't actually spoil anything. And then some of the other Guardians go on some other adventures, and there's gold people. Now we have a movie to review. A movie that, yes, is not as good as the first movie. Pretty commonplace among movie sequels. Doesn't always happen though. I mean, Winter Soldier, I was like, oh, just by better, you mean fucking better. Before I get to the bummers, I'm gonna talk about what I liked. First of all, surprisingly, Yondu was great. Rocket was a standout for me in the first Guardians movie. This movie, Yondu of all people. They did some good stuff with this character. In fact, if they want to make a Yondu movie, I'd be totally fine with that. Baby Groot is as cute as you want him to be, and the movie does have some entertaining, good-looking action. I thought Kurt Russell was a great addition to the Guardians of the Galaxy universe, or I guess Marvel Cinematic Universe. Guardians of the Galaxy is the most detached of the Marvel movies, but still takes place in that universe, and I thought Kurt Russell was really good for his role in this movie. Seeing him and Star-Lord bond was actually a good arc in a movie. Granted, it's pretty much 90% of the movie, but if you're just looking at that element, it was a good element, and Kurt Russell did a good job in it. That said, let's get to the bummers. The movie from the setup doesn't really flow. It's a bit disjointed. You're like, what's the point of this? And then they're hanging out with Kurt Russell, and you're like, all right, I guess we're hanging out here. And then there's this jailbreak scenario. It's these Guardians are jailed. Star-Lord's hanging out with Kurt Russell. It's the movie. And to throw some exciting action in it, there's this arc with these gold people, this civilization of their gold. And they worked totally fine for the introduction because you want to see them do a mission, and then, all right, they get out of that mission, then they go off to do some other stuff. But like a bad herpes flare-up every so often in this movie, a bunch of ships, an armada of gold people ships just come in to wreak some havoc, and then they go away, and then they come back. It was a bit disjointed. It's like, why are you guys here? Can't we have something else that's more attached to Ego the Living Planet doing something? They didn't really fit in the movie. Really, Drax didn't do much. Gamora did a little more than Drax did because of Nebula. Nebula and Gamora are a really good saving grace. I mean, Nebula in particular and her dynamic with Gamora, there's positive and negative there for sure. Nebula's great because we find out that Thanos is a dick. And in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you actually haven't seen Thanos be a dick. In fact, the only reason you know Thanos is an asshole is because your nerdy, sweaty friend told you Thanos is an asshole. Other than that, in the movie, you wouldn't really know. But because of Nebula, you get a first-hand account and stories that she has when she's talking about Thanos. You're like, oh, that guy is a dick. I loved that. Thanos is nowhere in this movie at all, but it was great to actually hear some shitty horror stories about him where you're like, yeah, that is a piece of shit. He needs to be stopped. However, she is overcooking it a little bit in the acting. She always talks like this. Pipe down. Chill out. Doesn't need to be that intense all the time. You can actually be a broken, hurt person and not talk like that. It kind of feels like I came into American Horror Story a little later, so I didn't see the early seasons, which I hear are the better seasons. But even when I came into it, which was American Horror Story Freak Show, it really felt like everyone in this show was in a contract to be on the show. They just didn't always have a place for everybody, so they had to just make these bullshit arcs to put them somewhere. I feel like that's the pressure Guardians 2 is feeling. You have all these characters, great. Star-Lord's gonna meet his dad, great. That's gonna be the main point of the story, great. What are the other people gonna do? I don't know. When you have an ensemble and the main point of the story concentrates on one among an ensemble, it's gonna compromise everyone else, really. Not that it's impossible to work around, I just feel like this movie didn't do the smoothest job in working around that. I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 had the concept like, well, people loved the humor in the first movie, we're gonna have more humor in this movie. But we're gonna compromise the flow of the plot, the characters, we're gonna rush the movie out. And by jokes, I mean, there were a lot of jokes in this movie. Yes, the humor in Guardians of the Galaxy is a staple of Guardians of the Galaxy, but this had so much humor and so little else that you can't help but be like, all the humor had better land if you're gonna do that. And not all of it did. Like at one point in this movie, this joke was going on for so long and I actually had to pull myself out of the movie. I was like, oh my god, this joke is still happening. Guys, in the end, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 had enjoyment in it. Baby Groot was cute, Rocket has some great lines, great moments, Yondu was awesome. I enjoyed the humor when it landed. However, the buildup was choppy, the execution as a whole was choppy. It just felt like the movie was rushed, or in a world where you hear Joss Whedon was burned out from Age of Ultron. Maybe James Gunn was burned out in this one. I don't know. I don't know the reasons. I was really tossing this around my brain, but this is how I see it. In the end, I would probably not watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 again. I just don't have the urge to. I enjoyed the enjoyable parts of it, and I just kind of rolled my eyes at the parts I didn't enjoy. Maybe a beer will make it go down better. So in the end, I will say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 would probably be a better time if I were drunk. Yeah, now it's a party. fuck, the comment section's gonna suck. 15 movies in, they can't all be gold. They're not going to all be gold. I will say, I feel like the reviews and the spectrum of reviews is gonna be vast. When I walked out of this movie, some people were like, I loved it. Other people were like, it was all right. I don't think this is gonna be unanimous. So when you're watching reviews out there, don't take one reviewer, watch a spectrum of people and be like, all right, I can take a little bit of that, a little bit of that. I feel like I'll know if I'm gonna watch it. Fuck it, just watch it yourself. Then assess whether or not you like it. The reception of the screening I was at was very different. This is just my take on it. All right, guys, so Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? It's a little early, this review, so I don't think a lot of you have seen it yet. So we'll do a spectrum of 2. What are your favorite and least favorite movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe thus far? Whatever they are, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.